But to get to the core as quickly as possible, I think we are now living through the decline, the definitive decline of the American empire, along with the deepening crisis of the American capitalism that both produced that empire and depended upon it. And therefore, the two things are happening together. It has plunged the United States into levels of difficulty it was not prepared for, and that it did not, in general, with very few exceptions, expect to see. If not in the immediate future, for many of them, ever. What do I mean? I mean a working class, the vast majority of the American people, that finds its conditions fundamentally under attack. Real wages have not gone up in this country. And by real wages, again, I simply mean the money wage you get adjusted for the prices you have to pay. You can afford as much today with your wages as you could in the 1970s. It's extraordinary. The illusion of a rising standard of living has now been burst because it is now understood to have depended for all that time and at this minute on levels of debt that are generally recognized as unsustainable. Government debt owed by the U.S., corporate debt owed by the business sector, and personal or household debt owned by the mass of people are all at or near record levels. Therefore, no one knows how an economic downturn, when next it hits, will ramify across such a deeply indebted, crisis-ridden capitalism. And the signs of empire decline only became clearer across the year 2024. We are losing the war in Ukraine, which should have made people understand by now this is not a war between Russia and Ukraine. This is a war between Russia and its allies, mostly known as the BRICS nations, and the United States and its allies, mostly known as the G7. In that war, Russia has moved and taken over, in effect, about a third of the country. It is far west of where its former border with Ukraine was, and it's therefore crystal clear who's winning and who's losing. And the destruction of the Ukrainian economy and of many of its cities and railroads and energy system are all testimony to that reality. The corresponding damage on the Russian side is inconsequential. That is a reality.